All right, so welcome everyone to our TMN Tuesday series for 2022. We're excited to have you with us this year. If this is your first TMN Tuesday event, we always like to start our TMN Tuesday off and any of our virtual or web-based presentations with our virtual meeting room etiquette, as you can see on your screen. So we'll leave this up through the first couple of minutes as folks are getting logged on. That'll be the standard for our TMN Tuesdays going forward as well. We do have a WebEx help guide on our website, and Michelle has dropped that link in the chat. We will be using chat, and chat will be for on-topic discussion only. And we ask that all comments and questions stay professional and respectful and on topic, as mentioned, for today's discussion. Today's presentation is planned to be a 1 hour presentation time slot. Our TMN Tuesdays sometimes will go over a little, and we try to warn you if we have a really hefty presentation or a topic that deserves more than an hour time slot. So we'll try and keep it to that 1 hour, but fear not if you do have to leave at the 1 o'clock mark. We are recording today's session, so you can go back and watch that, and that recording will be posted, if not by the end of today, by the end of the following day. And note, if this is your first time in WebEx, as an attendee, you are not able to unmute during the event. That's to help with the meeting sound. But we do ask that you use the chat box to ask any questions. And Michelle and I will be bouncing off of presenting and checking that chat box as well. So both of us will be moderating that throughout today's event. Okay. And then, like I mentioned, this is our first TMN Tuesday in our series. We will host these on the second Tuesday of every month in 2022. And they'll run from the 12 o'clock noon central hour to 1 o'clock. Typically will be 1 hour, and if we do have any that go over that 1 hour mark, we will try to prepare you in advance so that you can take time off or schedule that time if needed. Today's program is our State of the Program event. As we kick off into the new year, we like to kind of look back at where we've been in the past year and then look forward over Michelle and I's goals for the 2022 year, and then some of the big events that we want you to put on your calendar and get excited for the Master Naturalist program at the statewide level in 2022. Michelle, do you want to say anything launching us into the first TMN Tuesday?
Yeah, first TMN Tuesday of the 2022 new year. Just welcome everybody, and we're so glad you're here, and we're looking forward to another great year with the program, and we're going to tell you a little bit about that coming up.
Absolutely. So, like I mentioned, our agenda for today is packed with a lot of stuff that we're going to try and squeeze into this hour, and a lot of dates as well. But again, we're going to have these on the recording and on our website, so you can jot them down. Don't feel like you need to take furious notes today. We're going to talk about some of the accomplishments from 2021, but then really spend a lot of our time today focusing on looking into 2022 and some of our goals and program directions for the next year. And then if there's time, Michelle and I both have been wanting to talk about this and put this into a program for a while, but this Naturalist Leaders of Texas discussion, if we've got time at the very end, we'll get into that. And so with that, Michelle, I'd like you to introduce yourself and tell us who you are with the Master Naturalist program for those that are brand new with the Master Naturalist program.
Yes, our January speakers are yours truly that you see here, both Mary Pearl and I. My name is Michelle Haggerty. I'm the State Program Coordinator for the Texas Master Naturalist program, and I've been in my role here since 1999. So almost the entire history of the program statewide.
Yep.
And then Mary Pearl, I'll have you introduce.
And then I am the assistant statewide coordinator, and so Michelle and I work as a tangent team representing the two statewide sponsoring agencies. Michelle represents our Texas Parks and Wildlife Department agency, a partner, and I represent Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. Again, our program at the statewide level is sponsored by these two state agencies, and Michelle and I both help to represent them and work as a team to provide resources, training, guiding, answers, connections, networks to all of our Master Naturalist chapters across the state. All right. And a little bit more about your TMN state office. Michelle, you want to tell us a little bit about, and see my formatting text sure cut off there. You want to tell a little bit more about our state office and then our extended team?
Yes. So our, as you're probably aware, many of you who have been in the program for a while, our state office is run basically by the two of us. We manage and operate 48 chapters statewide, almost 15,000 volunteers that have been trained to the program. And normally, in normal years, that's a lot. In the past 2 years, that's been even more. With limitations that we've had in 2020 and then even 2021 was a year of innovation, being flexible, but that allowed us to come up with new ideas and events for the program as well, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Most of our time we felt in 2020, our year of the word of the year was pivot. Or you're muted, usually for having to go online with many of our trainings and all of our meetings. In 2021, we felt our year's word of the year was just keep swimming, and it's I'm sure that's what most of you and us have felt like we've been doing over the past year. But we are looking forward to this new year going swimmingly well. Our extended team, we've introduced ourselves as the state program coordinators for you. Our extended team and leadership team with the program include Richard Halbrin, who represents Texas Parks and Wildlife. He is my supervisor. Dr. Todd Sink represents Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service and is Mary Pearl's supervisor. We have a student assistant that helps with the program. Many of you have met Cameron Kelly. She is a graduate student at Texas A&M and our program assistant at the current time. And then Cheryl Foster is a contract worker with the program, and she helps with the administration of our Texas Master Naturalist volunteer management system. So if you see them, welcome them and thank them for all their work that they've done for the program and their support of the program continuously. So we can't move forward without telling you some of the exciting things we have coming up in 2022 without kind of recapping 2021, because we've had some great innovations and exciting things that have happened in 2021 as well. In 2021, we saw the program delved into using new communication tools and methods. And that included training, outreach, education, and communication from our state office to our membership. That included the advent of our TMNTuesdays events, which we bill as our advanced training sessions from the state office. And we implemented that in 2021. We continued with our monthly chapter presidents meetings and hold those as on a regular basis and as routine now with all of our presidents and chapter advisors. We meet with them monthly. We updated our website and events calendar and really beefed up our social media to connect and communicate with our volunteers in a digital world that we've been living in over the past 2 years. We delved into new training modules and methods, continued virtual, really delved into the world of hybrid training and meetings this past year, and then with both our monthly state advanced training opportunities and then our Master Naturalist annual meeting this year. Backed by popular demand in 2021, we had not one, but 2 virtual volunteer project sessions. We hosted 2 of those in 2021. We'll talk more about those in a minute. And we had more state-sponsored advanced training through our TMNTuesdays and other kind of ad hoc trainings that we offered as they came up and as you told us you needed them statewide. Another huge effort that we had in 2021 is we updated our CMAP, and that was after 3 years of your chapters and your members' reviews. And we incorporated 3 years of your reviews into the new freshly updated chapter management operations protocols document. That not a lot was changed in that, but we cleaned up text, formatting, and consistency. That is now what our program is operating under for this year, and you can find it on our website. Some lessons learned over the past year. Remain flexible. Because of changing COVID guidelines and resources, we learned that we all learned at every level of our program, we needed to remain flexible in our training environments, flexible with our projects and how those are carried out. We identified some communication efficiencies, barriers, and even new tools and implemented them in the program. And then working with new and diverse partners and audiences for conservation projects was a huge effort of ours over the past year. One of the efforts I mentioned, one of the biggest efforts and newest things that we did last year in 2021 was the implementing our TMNTuesdays training events. And again, the TMNTuesdays are offered the second Tuesday of every month as advanced training for all of our Master Naturalists from anywhere in the state. And you can see the whole list of sessions that were held last year and offered last year here on the right-hand side of the screen. Overall, across all of those sessions, we had 8,864 people watch those live, and another 5,434 people watched the recordings. So in the chat, tell us which ones were your favorite from last year, or maybe the items that we need to bring back again this year.
Yeah, and then a second part of our monthly series of advanced trainings that the Master Naturalist State Office offered in 2021 was our Be the Change series, our mini series of Be the Change seminars that were happening throughout the state and at local chapter levels and elevated to the statewide level. And our Be the Change mini-series really focused in on diversity, equity, and inclusion conversations that were happening, working with different partners, looking at ways to enhance relationships locally with those, with the different communities across your chapter's territory, your chapter's region, or across the state as well. And so we hosted these nine Be the Change mini-series events in 2021 from March all the way through October, culminating with our October keynote presentation at our annual meeting. The Color and Conservation Conversation with Drew Lanham at the 2021 annual meeting was a huge success and a fantastic presentation that I hope you got to watch. We had 2,639 folks watch our Be the Change series live throughout 2021, and 1,287 of y'all watched those as recordings post-event. So it's exciting to see some of the engagement with that mini-series as well. And we'll talk about how that mini-series is moving forward into 2022 in a second. While you're dropping your favorite TMN Tuesday from last year in the chat, we'd also like to hear what your favorite Be the Change series event was. Mine personally was probably Judge Ronnie McDonald's Don't Count Me Out presentation in June, but also the October, it's hard to pick. Those were some great conversations. All right, some other accomplishments from 2021. We hosted 2 virtual volunteer fairs. These were hosted at the request of chapter members, of Master Naturalist volunteers, of chapter leadership who were asking the state office for opportunities to provide volunteer service engagement methods for their membership with the changing COVID guidelines and the degrees in which we were still separated or at home or working at a distance or in small groups. We needed a way to connect our Master Naturalist volunteers with those opportunities that they could do in these kind of new and diverse and flexible environments, and with new partners as well. So we hosted our first in 2020 in September, but then in 2021 we hosted two, one in February and one in August, September. You can see the stats there with 32 projects presented in February and 13 in August, and 1,200 Master Naturalists attending in February and 300 attending in August. Big successes, especially as kind of back to work or re-engagement, return to service was fluctuating throughout the year. We have heard feedback that y'all are interested in hosting and us hosting another one of these, and so we are planning another virtual volunteer event in 2022, and I'll have those dates to share with you in just a little bit as well. All right, and then we ended 2021 with a fantastic annual meeting. It was our first ever hybrid annual meeting. So it was a lot of learning lessons in a short period of time, but it was really exciting to get to both see people in person and engage people virtually with the huge litany of presentations and topics that we had on the agenda for the 2021 annual meeting. We had 691 total registrants, with 2/3 attending virtually and about a third attending in person. And that was on purpose. We limited the amount of in-person attendees to allow for that social distancing. And one thing that I am very proud of is that we had no COVID cases coming out of the Master Naturalist annual meeting event. We had temperature checks and masks required, and it was a huge success with no positives coming out of that event. We had 106. Did you want to say something, Michelle?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say it was also a huge success. Thanks to all the chapters in the area that helped with that, helped with the meeting, helped with the safety protocols. It was a great team, great team effort always around. So, and thank you to the chapters in the greater North Texas area that helped with the annual meeting.
Yeah. They helped to put together the hybrid technology. They helped to put together 15 amazing field sessions that occurred throughout the weekend, pre and post event. And for our Master Naturalists who registered to attend the 2021 annual meeting, those recordings are still available for you. That was a perk of registration, is that you, either as an in-person or a virtual attendee, you still have access to all of those recordings, and those are both on the website, those recordings that are available to both in-person and virtual attendees are on our website still. The app, not the app, but the event hub. And we had our typical annual meeting events throughout the 4 days that we hosted y'all up in North Texas. We had our Friday keynotes by both Drew Lanham and Amy Martin, a fellow Master Naturalist. We had our Science Fair Award winner attend on Saturday and our evening awards, and then Sunday wrapped up with our contest awards and our pin announcement as well. And speaking of awards, Michelle, you want to tell us a little bit about some of the biggest awards that came out of the 2021 annual meeting?
We had lots of awards that we gave out and announced at the annual meeting, and I'm sorry we can't tell you about all of those today. They are on our website, and we'll drop a link there for you to look at those. Some of the bigger awards, the biggest awards that we gave out are our Texas Master Naturalist 2021 Chapter Advisor Award. These kind of have been dubbed as the Advisors of the Year Award. Our individual award went to Matthew March with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. He is the AgriLife Advisor to the Pineywood Lakes chapter. And we had a team award that went to both Johanna Arendt and Tanya Homayim with Joanna is with the Balcones Canyonlands Preserve. Tanya works for Texas Parks and Wildlife, and I'm proud to have her on my team. And both of those are a team of advisors with the Balcones Canyonlands chapter. They won the team award this year. So this award typically awards exceptional work by advisors or a team of advisors, their contributions to the chapter, and the organization's mission and goals overall, even at our state level. Any new initiatives or accomplishments that they've helped the chapter implement, their participation in the chapter, their ability to empower volunteers, and then just their other knowledge as a resource management expert in activities in that area. So congratulations to the 3 award winners for our Advisor Award in 2021. Another award that we gave out, or a series of awards that we gave out at the annual meeting, was the Exemplary Project Awards for our statewide program. And chapters, every year, chapters have the opportunity to submit a project of their choosing, an entire chapter project of their choosing, to compete for this award, being named, it's almost being named one of the top projects in the state for the year. I would liken it to that. And the award winners this year included our Cradle of Texas chapter for first place, with their Building the Bobcat Woods Loop Trail project. Second place was our Llano Estacado chapter with the native bee, a new project that they undertook, a native bee survey project in their local area. And then third place was a tie with the Elm Fork chapter and the Bluestem chapter. The Elm Fork chapter had a project with the Denton ISD School Days Virtual Clear Creek project. That's a mouthful to get out. But the project talks about a virtual training for schools that they did in their local area. And then the Bluestem chapter had a new project with their Habitat for Monarchs project. So all of these, the presentations about all of these projects are on our state website again, and we'll drop that stuff in the chat for you. But I encourage all of you and your chapters to check out these exemplary projects and all of the projects that were presented as part of the awards. These are great examples for chapters anywhere in the state to be able to kind of pick up, adapt, and implement in their local area as well, and see the same results. So congratulations again to our Exemplary Project Award winners.
I would also encourage chapters to start thinking about what projects you're working on currently for our 2022 chapter project fair as well.
So looking forward, now that we've kind of told you a little bit about some of the major highlights of 2021, let's look forward to 2022 a little bit and what we're planning so far. I would say that we've planned things the past 2 years, and we've had to be more reactionary in the past couple years than what we anticipated, and we hope we are planning for 2022 to be things that we plan for. So one of the things that we want to focus on in this new year is continuing with our open lines of communication and effectively using those. We mentioned the monthly chapter presidents meetings that we're having. We've gone through a huge update and refresh of our Master Naturalist website. It is our effort. We aim to make the website kind of the go-to place for finding any and all information to answer your questions about the Master Naturalist program that we can. So we'd like the Master Naturalist website to be the number one resource. So if you have a question, go to it. And if there's something that you find on there that you can't find to help answer your question, let us know in the new year, and we'd like to get that updated. We'd like to increase our virtual and hybrid-based instruction and engagement opportunities. In 2021, we mentioned our virtual volunteer fair. Those were so popular in the past 2 years. You've asked, as members and in chapters, you've asked for them to come back again in 2022. We're planning for that. TMNTuesdays, we're starting with the new year with this one here. January's TMNTuesday will be continuing that monthly this year. And then our 2022 annual meeting. We don't quite know what that looks like yet, whether it's a hybrid event or all in person or some semblance of the two. But know that that is in the works, and we are planning to have a 2022 statewide annual meeting again this year. We'd like to continue in 2021, we had a huge effort in working in the areas of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and arming chapters, our leaders, and other conservation organizations in Texas with more information on how they can increase diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in their chapter and in our program statewide. And we will be continuing this in the new year with a workshop, which we'll talk about in a minute. Another thing that we've been kind of working on towards the end of 2021 and really will do further in 2022 is ensuring the efficiency of our program through our guiding documents. I mentioned having updated the CMOP in 2021 after 3 years of your input, 3 years of receiving 3 years of your input. The same input has already been given to our bylaws and our chapter operating handbook. We're in the process of working on the chapter operating handbook right now, and then looking at bylaws possibly to follow after that, an update. And then we want to reinvest in our program branding. Many people look to our Master Naturalist logo, our mission, and our title as our program brand, and we want to strengthen that program brand and our identity for the entire program, and making that brand even more well known across Texas. So we'll be looking at our program logos and templates, just increasing the presence of those, the availability of those, looking at the merchandise in our store, offering more for you. I mentioned refreshing our chapter websites, state website, and our chapters have already gone through a process of that. We're looking at more in the new year. And then Master Naturalist photo collection project that we'll be working on. Someone asked, in the chat, someone asked, what is CMOP? CMOP is our chapter management and operations protocols. So there was a lot on that slide. We have some things going forward. Over the past couple of years, COVID-19 guidelines have been a part of our lives, and they are continue to be. Our actual program guidelines have not changed, and they continue to be the same since probably June of this past year. If you want to move forward to the next slide.
Yes.
So the things we want to mention with our current response, COVID-19 guidelines and response, is that safety is our guiding principle for all of our operations. We feel that the Master Naturalist program has a responsibility for creating a safe and friendly space for all members, attendees at our trainings, our local partners, and the public and the communities we serve. We will be the basis of our COVID-19 guidelines as they are now is that we stress that it's important for our members and our chapters to know and follow all federal, state, county, and local COVID guidelines and restrictions, and recognize that that may be different from county to county, community to community, and even city to city. But recognize that those are there, they guide what we do, and the safety practices that we have for the program, depending on your location. And then beyond those, we ask that you consider the following items for planning gatherings and face-to-face events. Ask yourselves whether virtual meeting platform tools would be the most useful in certain situations. That should always be a consideration in your plannings of meetings and events, especially in the fluid format we're finding ourselves in even today. And then for any indoor and outdoor activities that do occur in person, we suggest that masks and social distancing considerations are strongly encouraged. And certainly if your local communities have certain regulations in place, that we need to follow those first and foremost. our COVID guidelines are on our website, and I think Mary Pearl's already dropped the link there for those. And let us know if you have any other questions.
As Michelle mentioned, one of our major efforts in 2021 and continuing on into 2022 is to really utilize our Master Naturalist State website as the hub for information, and as a resource for you as chapters as well, so that you can build the materials that you need for your chapter newsletters, for your announcements. You have access to all of the state guiding documents in an easy format, our state logos. I know that the program logos page needs a refresh on our website, things like that. So our website is the go-to hub, and something that we are pushing you or encouraging you to check first, as you're seeking answers for questions, especially with the 15,000 master naturalists out there. This is an easy way for Michelle and I to put the most current information up via our website. So our events calendar, which will have a refresh in early 2022 as well, and then our state email listserv. If you are not on our Master Naturalist email listserv, the link to join that listserv is going to be dropped in the chat here shortly. And that is a great way to get announcements on offerings of advanced training, workshops, registration for events like our TMN Tuesday, and so on. So we'll drop that link here in just a second. While we're talking about TMN Tuesdays, we do have our TMN Tuesday events scheduled throughout the rest of 2022. And as aloof as it sounds, we are intentionally not announcing the speakers and topics for each month that comes throughout the year. We do have the dates and the time set, but the speakers are going to remain flexible based off of current trends, current events that are happening in Texas, or conservation issues that may need to jump up on the calendar, so to speak, in our TMN Tuesday lineup. And so while these dates are solid, we will announce the upcoming month's speaker and presentation topic within a few weeks before each of these events. So just keep these dates and keep that hour open on your calendar, and I promise we will always have a great presentation topic and speaker throughout all of the rest of the year. These are on the second Tuesday of each month. They will count as 1 hour of advanced training, so you can handily get all 12 hours of advanced training just by watching these either live or as a recording. And we will put those recordings on the website as mentioned earlier. And so we look forward to a great year of TMN Tuesdays, and we're always looking for recommendations of fantastic statewide applicable speakers for our TMN Tuesday event. So if you hear a great speaker, feel free to drop that in the chat, or send Michelle and I a note so that we can consider different speakers for our lineup for 2022. Some other events and dates to add to your calendar. While I don't have a solid date for you yet, we are planning a 2022 virtual volunteer fair. We have currently, Michelle and I are looking at the last week of April or the first week of May. We're checking with a few other partners to make sure that they have availability during those, which of those days they have the most availability to be able to present their virtual volunteer projects. But one of the things that we will need once we have that date settled down and we do have a call for projects out is we're going to need your help as Master Naturalists finding those conservation partners that are seeking volunteers. These are different organizations, project partners that are looking for volunteers on a statewide level, have virtual-based statewide need for volunteers to log in, to do virtual service or at-distance service from their homes, citizen science projects, data collection or contribution, or outreach and education on a larger statewide level. So help us look for some of these conservation partners to share our call for projects with once that gets announced. As always, our virtual volunteer fair will be a recorded event, so if you're not able to make that specific day and time, that we host these project presentations, we'll put those recordings on the website so that you can watch them, and then we'll also be sending out the links to sign up to be a volunteer for one of those projects. Similar to a job fair, you'll have plenty of opportunity to review before, during, and after the projects get announced, and then sign up to be an applicant or a volunteer on those projects. All right, and then putting some more dates on your calendar, our 23rd Master Naturalist annual meeting. It sounds weird to say 23rd, but our 23rd annual meeting is coming up in October, the 20th through the 23rd. We are scheduled to be in Houston at the Omni Houston. As Michelle said, we're not quite sure what the format's going to be yet, in-person, hybrid, virtual, what degree within that range of potential events. So all I need for you to do right now is put that date on your calendar and save a trip for us to come to Houston in 2022. All right, Michelle, you want to tell us a little bit about this upcoming workshop?
Sure. So last year we mentioned that we launched into our Be the Change mini webinar series, which looked at diversity, equity, and inclusion in conservation organizations in Texas and beyond. The focus was with our Master Naturalist chapters, but the information we learned and shared could be applied to any chapter in any conservation organization within the state. Along with that, we also developed or worked with our presenters to have them help us develop a playbook, and all of those resources are available on our state website. Our chapters have told us they want to keep the diversity, equity, and inclusion conversations going. And so one of the things that we'll be doing in the new year is working with our chapters, surveying the chapters, and gaining their input and information on what they liked or what you liked as members in these Be the Change from the Be the Change webinar series and sessions. What tools and resources do you still need as a chapter leader in a chapter or an organization leader, conservation organization leader going forward? And we want to pull that information in kind of package a Be the Change workshop in early spring. We're looking at April 2022 to help you further your diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts at the local level. And for those who haven't started the conversations yet, start and hear from some case studies or lessons learned from other chapters and share that information with you. So stay tuned on a Be the Change workshop coming up. Again, we are looking at holding that in early April of 2022. And so some other items regarding 2022. You may know that in 2020 and 2021, due to the pandemic, that we were a little flexible on some of our certification, on earning a certification in 2022, and we had an interim policy. That policy remains for 2022. The policy that we had for 2020 and 2021 remains for 2022. And so what that says is that certification requirements that are not changing is that, the basic training temporary policy for new trainees entering the program this year. Our temporary policy is that we will allow for pre-recorded basic training sessions that have a follow-up or live Q&A with the speakers. We will allow for all 40 hours of the planned basic training hours to be done and completed in that manner. We encourage this to be used minimally or only as needed. We expect that your chapters would be fluid with recorded sessions or live in-person sessions as the situation in your local community warrants it. We encourage regional and neighboring chapters to kind of band together and have collective trainings to make this model more efficient. So again, the basic training, our temporary policy is that we will allow for all 40 hours if needed of your basic training sessions to be completed via online sessions or recorded. And then the advanced training policy for all of our members statewide. Again, we've had this policy, an interim policy for 2020 and 2021. It remains the same again for 2022. That temporary policy is that we will allow for pre-recorded advanced training sessions with follow-up live Q&A with the speaker from the event. And hours count, advanced training hours can be counted for both watching and the interaction with the speaker. What we do not allow with the temporary advanced training policy is that no fully recorded videos that do not have speaker interaction. So a lot is learned through the interaction with the speaker and the ability to ask questions from that speaker. And so we have determined that that is an essential piece to advanced training. Our goal is to allow group discussion with speakers and question and answer. And when this happens in a group, it's learning for everybody. Our volunteer service, the things that aren't changing with 2022 interim policies and temporary policies is that the volunteer service requirements for the program are not changing in 2022. Rather, we encourage our where you have to do socially distanced or God forbid we have to shut down ever again. We do have a full suite of online online service opportunities or distance service opportunities that our members could do from home or from a computer. So there's lots of innovations that we've had in the past 2 years that we feel confident that our members can gain their service even if they have to be working from home for a while. So we did have one exception to the advanced training policy and that applied to our annual meeting. In 2021, our annual meeting, looking back at 2020, our annual meeting was all online, and so we allowed for recorded sessions to be watched through April of 2021 for advanced training hours. And then in 2021, with our hybrid annual meeting, we have recorded sessions for those who have registered or did register, and those can be watched through April 2022 for advanced training. TMNTuesdays and Be the Change. Recorded sessions can be watched for advanced training hours through, so everything that was presented in the 2021 calendar year, those can be watched. They were to have been watched in 2021 for advanced training and reported by the end of the year.
All right, now let's get to the shiny things. That's what it says in little tiny print there. So some of the other things that we wanted to focus on in 2022, some of our programmatic goals on focusing on branding and focusing on the presentation of the Master Naturalist program and our identification really comes in with some of the gear that we have out there. So the polos, plates, and pins, as well as our websites and our logos and things like that as well. We do have a new look to our AgriLife bookstore. It is now called AgriLife Learn. This is where we offer our statewide available masks, polos, shirts, hats, patches, lanyards, and so on. The inventory has definitely taken a little bit of a dip in the last couple of months of 2021. I realize that. I recognize the need, and so there is new gear coming to the AgriLife Learn. I'm going to keep calling it the bookstore. To our merchandise listing online at agrilifelearn.tamu.edu, in 2022, February, we've got some new items coming, and we'll be announcing that through that listserv that we announced earlier as well. So new gear coming, new masks, polos, shirts, some great new looks for 2022. We also have our Master Naturalist license plate. It's out there, it's on vehicles crisscrossing the state of Texas and beyond. If you don't have a Master Naturalist plate, we encourage you to get one. This is a great way to not only showcase you as a Master Naturalist, your support of the program, but it also helps to put the word out there about the Master Naturalist program, financially support at the state level, and get your neighbors interested in and what you've got going on with that dragonfly in your bumper. So it is $30 for a non-personalized plate or $70 for a personalized plate. We have sold 388 plates in 2021, just launched in June of 2021, and so with 388 vehicles out there moving around with their Master Naturalist license plates on, it's great to see. And we are always welcome to entertain pictures of your Master Naturalist license plate on your car bumper, so that we can showcase the Master Naturalist love driving around out there. All right, Michelle, you want to tell us a little bit about some other shiny bling that people can wear? I think she's answering some questions.
Yes, I was just answering a question in the chat. Sorry. um, whoops.
Oh, I'm seeing some suggestions of gear in the bookstore. Good. I'll get some of it, and we'll take those suggestions too for bookstore wear so that we can add those into our inventory. Thank you for the suggestions.
So one of the things that we announced late to our presidents in 2021 is that because 2021 was another year of uncertainty and navigating difficult trails and on and off and in and out, we are offering the our grit and distance pin for 2021 again. And in 2020, we had it was our service against all odds pins. This is available again for last year. We recognize that our Master Naturalists worked hard despite having some challenges, just like we did throughout the program, and that you persevered and you pressed on in your passion and your grit and your commitment to this program. It has not been unnoticed, and we thank you for that. So again, for this year, we'll have the service against all odds through grit and distance pin available to any member who logged at least 8 hours of advanced training and at least 1 hour of volunteer service. And so we are still in a time period. You have 45 days past December 31st. So since December 31st, you still have 45 days to get any hours in that you may need to in order to get this pin and report that. All of the information will be taken from VMS, all of our volunteer management system for the program. And shortly after the 45-day period closes, that window closes for reporting, we will pull reports and mail a list of members who have reached these criteria to the chapters along with your pin. And so the chapters will distribute the pin to the membership who have earned them. But again, thank you for your, just like we said, your hustle, your passion, your perseverance, your grit, and your commitment to this program through the many challenges of 2021 again this past year. And then, so bringing us forward to 2022, we announced at the annual meeting what our 2022 annual recertification pin is. And that is the State Shell of Texas, the Lightning Whelk, and Bussicon perversum folii. My Latin isn't great, so But the state shell of Texas is our 2022 recertification pin. This pin will recognize in 2022 when a member has obtained 40 hours of service and 8 hours of advanced training. So to gain that in the new year, we ask that you report your 40 hours of service and your 40 hours of advanced training that you get this year in the VMS, and you will be rewarded with that pin, that recertification pin. Just a little bit of background about the lightning whelk, our state shell of Texas. Its length, it's about 2.5 to 16 inches long. It's named because of the lightning looking like the lightning strikes or streaks that look like lightning on the side of the shell. One thing I thought was interesting is that the color of the shell depends on its exposure to light, it's the exposure to different temperatures, and its age. So as a shell gets older, its color gets I can't remember if it's darker or lighter. If one of you know, put that in the chat because I can't remember. But it's a very dynamic shell. It was really interesting to learn about that to me. Its insides are white, and the animal that is inside is a dark brown to black. One of the things that make lightning whelks special is that not only can, almost the entire coast of Texas, they'd be found in the entire coast of Texas, but one of the things that makes them unusual is that unlike other shells, that they are mostly a left-handed, what they call a left-handed shell for its counterclockwise spiral. They are are carnivorous shell. They can almost smell their prey with their footed mouthpiece that they have to open other shells to eat. Their lifespan is unknown. Their spawning season is from March through April. Their mating season is going on right now, or almost culminating right now. It's last October to January. And their predators are mainly gulls, crabs, and other whelks. And they consume other bivalves, or bivalves, especially oysters, clams, and scallops. I mentioned its habitat and where it can be found. But then some other interesting things that I learned about the lightning whelk is that Native Americans harvested the whelks for religious ceremonies and practical tools. Many tribes believed that the left-handed spiral made the shells sacred objects, but whelks were also eaten and their shells used as scrapers, gouges, and cups and bowls by Native Americans. And fun fact, larger shells can hold up to 1 quart of liquid. Seems like it'd be heavy carrying liquid in that if you had to carry it on your backs. It is believed that sailors even used the egg cases as sponges for bathing. And then it was named our state shell by our Texas legislature in 1987. So there is so much more for you to learn about our 2021 recertification pin of the year, the state shell of Texas. And I'll drop the link there in the chat for you. But just a little bit about the shell, its life history and kind of what it means to us as naturalists. So I hope that each of you can earn this shell, this pin this year.
Thank you. And we will have pictures of the pin on our website. Under our chapter supplies tab, we have our program pins from the very first pin in 2002 and all the way through this year's recertification pin, which I think still needs to get uploaded to the website, but we'll have them up there. So what else is ahead in 2022 and beyond? Michelle and I still have a ton of other program goals and ideas of things. As Michelle mentioned earlier, we really spent a lot of 2021 in a reactionary mode and 2020 as well. And so there's projects that are that have been on the horizon for a while, but with resources needed or with more flexible time and additional staffing needed to really give them the dedication that they need in order to get on. So these are projects that are still alive, but have not been given the service or the time needed just out of the condition of the last couple of years and the funding and staffing limitations that we have. So if you are new to the Master Naturalist program over the last 5 years, we do have a Master Naturalist Endowment. This is a funding mechanism that we developed in early 2016 with the goal of creating these sustainable funding formats for chapter project grants and new programs and resources to provide to our chapters from the statewide level. And this endowment fund has been growing steadily and surely through individual donations, chapter-based gifts. We have a number of chapter members a number of Master Naturalist members who have engaged in employer gift matching from their former employer or their current employer with their gift matching, and even some estate planning that's happened with the Master Naturalist Endowment. And while the endowment has truly not been given as much attention as it could be, this is something that we do hope to get back to when life gets a little bit easier and again more proactive than reactive as we've been over the last couple of years. That link is on our website as well for the masternaturalistendowment.org. And if you are interested in giving, you can always give directly at give.am/Texas Master Naturalist. And a big thank you to all who have given to the Master Naturalist Endowment thus far. One of the other major programs that continues to stay on our radar and something that we'd like to see developed and funded is the Junior Master Naturalist program at the statewide level. Many of our chapters have a chapter-based youth program or a Junior Master Naturalist program, but due to funding limitations and staff limits, we are not able to engage in this at the statewide level at this time. So it's still something that's on the list to do at some point when resources and time become more available, but it's currently just something that is locally chapter developed at this point. All right, and then Michelle, we've just got a few minutes left, and I know that we keep wanting to put these leader slides in there. Do you want to try and tackle some of these real quick?
Yeah, I'll just make a couple of points. If you could go through the slides, and I'll pick out some of the things. So one of the things we wanted to say with just leadership in our Master Naturalists and you as members is that there's a leader in all of us. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your situation is. What matters is that what matters is what you do with the resources you have and where you end up. It's a quote by Alison Vidotto. Essential leadership skills, we all, just like the skills of a naturalist, we all possess the skills of a naturalist. We all possess the skills of a leader, and it's how we use them. We all have communication skills. We're all creative. We are all motivating in our own way, in our own right, giving feedback and being positive. We've certainly had to do that over the past year, a couple of years. But these are all essential leadership skills, and I know all of you as Master Naturalists have every one of these skills and utilize it to the best of your ability. And that's what leaders do. Every Master Naturalist is a leader. And how you can demonstrate that by being a part of the Master Naturalist program. You've already taken the first step in conservation, in natural resource communication, being and becoming a Master Naturalist or being a part of the Master Naturalist program. You're already taking a lead in your community, in your life, and being a leader in natural resources, and certainly for the Master Naturalist program in Texas. How do you continue to be a leader in your chapter or for your chapter in the program? We ask that you stay involved, join a committee. We hear all the time from our presidents in chapter leaders that they need more help. And so you as a member, if you could help and step up, just say, I'm here to help. How can I do that? Join a committee, take on a project, maybe lead a project, attend the annual meeting. I can't tell you how much being at the annual meeting is just a huge re-energizer for me. Seeing our naturalists, learning what they're doing, learning more advanced training, things that can better help us as naturalists and better help us help our communities. That is stepping up and being a leader. Be a part of change for your chapter. Help identify opportunities for growth and change in your chapter, or maybe even take on the leadership of those efforts in your chapter and your community. Communicate with your chapter in your community. Bring your creativity and passion to your chapter in the program, and then seek feedback for involvement and growth. Move on to the next slide. And then those are some things you can do as a member, individually and even at your local level, community level with your chapter. But taking it to the next level, we mentioned that all of your chapters need help. Become involved in your chapter either as a committee member or a part of a committee. That may lead to you being involved as the next leader or leadership panel of your chapters. Contribute to a strategic plan for your local chapter, whether it's for one effort or for the entire chapter operations overall, or contribute to the local partners that, while representing yourself as a master naturalist, the local partners that we work with or that your neighboring and chapter works with. And here are just a couple of types of leadership: a designated leadership, active followership, peer leadership, self-leadership. If you have time, tell us what type of leader you identify as. On the screen, it tells you what it means, what each type of leadership style or role means. Let us know what you think, where you fit in these categories or these roles.
Yeah, and that kind of sums up and hopefully energizes all of our master naturalist individuals. And I'll go back to that slide just so that we leave it on the screen, because this is the ending of our presentation today. But we wanted to end with kind of a request of you to continue your engagement as a master naturalist. As Michelle said, you are already a leader by taking that first step in joining the master naturalist chapter, the community, your training. If you're a new training class member, welcome. We're so excited that you've become part of the program. If you are a 20-year veteran, thank you for sticking with us and staying with the program for so long. Your dedication. We've got a ton of great things coming in 2022. The program is healthy, as the state of the program is the topic for today. It is invigorated by your leadership, by your charge, by your passion. The Master Naturalist program is not possible without the army of volunteers that we have across the state that do the great conservation work. And really are the hands-on active conservation in Texas. So with this, we want to thank you for joining our first TMN Tuesday event of 2022. We will have the recording from today if you had to leave or if you had some trouble with your PC. I know there was a few folks having some issues earlier. We'll have this recording on the website here later today, if not tomorrow morning. We're so excited about 2022 and all the possibilities that this year holds for us. And we just want to say thank you so much for taking the lead with us with the Master Naturalist program. Michelle, any closing words as folks are adding comments into the chat or anything else?
No, there's things coming in fast and furiously, lots of thank yous, some questions. We'll try to follow up with what we can. But thank you again for being a part of the Master Naturalist, joining us today. And thank you for continuing with us. And we look forward to a great 2022.
Absolutely.